Good evening. On News Watch Weather, the story of two cold fronts. One is longer than the other, but neither is permanent, of course. Also tonight,
a Clark County business vows to rebuild after a devastating fire. They'll tell you what the community is doing to help.
Plus, Eastern Illinois University reverses a decision to allow a conservative political student movement on campus. This is News Watch, and your Friday's edition starts now.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
The plan is to rebuild. That's the message from a Clark County business owner. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Matt Williamson.
And I'm Andrew Spade. We'll have more on the West Union Cafe fire in just a moment, but Scott Ely's back to talk about an interesting and ever-changing Skywatch forecast. Good evening, Scott.
good evening. We had this cold front, marked by the triangles in blue, pass completely through the viewing area this afternoon. It did so fairly quickly. It had almost no impact on our weather, because temperatures were not affected by winds from the west primarily. We do have temperatures staying in the 60s for the most part, a few in the 60s. In the 60s right now we have Decatur at 65, and as I catch my bearings here, we have 58 in Paris and in Champaign. Our high temperatures today, wow, in the 70s, 72 at Taylorville, 71 at Effingham, also Terre Haute and Robinson in the 70s. It is now well past sunset here at EIU. We'll give you tomorrow's great looking forecast, and we'll move into the month of November when we return. Now to the news desk.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. Donations are pouring in to help owners of a business that caught fire in West Union. The West Union Cafe along Illinois Highway 1 in Clark County was destroyed Tuesday afternoon. West Union Fire Chief Ryan Jordan says a grease fire in the kitchen got out of control. Owner Casey Adams told our partner station WTHI so many people have offered to support and help. She says the business was more than just a cafe.
Somebody doesn't show up for their coffee in the morning 2 days in a row. We're like, hey, where are you at? Are you okay? You know, because that's who we are. Like, we're family. We've had total strangers walk in here and leave and be part of us, you know, and that's what it's about. It's not about the money. It's not about the business itself. It's just about being part of something.
Adams and her crew met with the public today to express thanks and gratitude. She hopes to reopen as soon as possible. A GoFundMe account has been set up to help support the cafe. While some windy days in central Illinois may have fueled a rural Teutopolis field fire. On Wednesday, the Teutopolis Fire District says a person contacted 911 after seeing a brush fire entering the woods and inching towards a residential propane tank. Firefighters were able to successfully put out the fire and were on the scene for about an hour. A cause has not yet been determined, but fire officials say to be extra careful setting any type of fire in windy conditions.
Millions of people in Illinois could have their criminal records sealed under a bill passed by lawmakers during last week's veto session. The Clean Slate Act would require law enforcement agencies to automatically seal eligible criminal records every 6 months. The measure excludes convictions for sexual violence against minors, DUI, reckless driving, serious violent crimes, and crimes that qualify for the sex offender registry. Law enforcement and courts could still have access to the sealed records, but public and private background checks would not. Capital News Illinois reports the bill made nearly 2.2 million people in Illinois eligible to have their records sealed. The bill now heads to the governor for his approval. Lawmakers passed other measures during the veto session too, approving 24 bills in all. That includes one bill meant to protect public officials from threats or harassments by allowing them to shield personal information like phone numbers and home addresses. Another would allow the Illinois Department of Public Health to issue state-specific vaccine guidelines. That comes after a federal movement to rescind emergency use authorization for COVID vaccines. And still, lawmakers failed to pass some other bills, including one requiring election officials offer curbside voting for people with disabilities.
It's been a day of delays and uncertainty for many travelers. The Federal Aviation Administration is cutting flights nationwide because of the ongoing government shutdown. Flights at 40 major airports, including Chicago and Indianapolis, have been cut. FlightAware says airports in Chicago, Atlanta, Denver, and Dallas have had the most disruptions so far. The FAA says its goal is to reduce flights by 10% by next weekend to ease pressure on unpaid air traffic controllers. The impact is expected to be felt across the U.S. air transportation system, affecting passengers and package deliveries. The U.S. turkey population is at its lowest level in nearly 4 decades. The American Farm Bureau Federation says the turkey flock is at an estimated 195 million birds this year. The organization says low numbers are the result of multiple bird flu outbreaks. A lower supply in birds this year will mean higher prices this Thanksgiving for many shoppers. The USDA predicts a national average wholesale price that is 40% higher than last year. Now, despite this, experts don't anticipate any major shortage of turkey this holiday season.
Eastern Illinois University leaders have allowed the creation of a campus chapter of a national conservative organization 1 day after a student government body rejected the request. On Wednesday, the university's Student Government Association voted to not approve the creation of an EIU chapter of Turning Point USA, the organization founded by Charlie Kirk, who was shot and killed in September. It's not clear why the body denied the request, but yesterday, university administrators announced they would allow creation of a registered student organization. In a statement, administrators say petitioning students met all requirements of university police to create a registered student organization. They also say, if allowed to stand, the student government's refusal would violate the university's First Amendment obligations.
Now we stay on Eastern's campus for this next story. It's not often we meet newsmakers that cause us to pause and reflect on our own daily lives, but that's exactly what happened today.
Matt and I had the chance to meet Bo Martinez. He's an Eastern student, but his backstory goes much deeper, and it tells the story of a new center opening on campus.
I came a bit later to college. A lot of people go right out of high school, but it wasn't really an option for me.
Meet Bo Martinez, a sophomore business administration student at Eastern Illinois University, and a first-gen student.
My family had I don't know how to put this, dissolved. My dad ended up not being able to return to the United States. Now my mom lives somewhere else with some roommates. And then my brother was struggling with schizophrenia. The last time I was living with him, we were living in a car.
Bo says being a first-generation college student came with its own set of challenges.
It was really just planning on how not to die.
Cheryl Eustace knows Bo's story and many others like it. She's Eastern's administrator for student success and understands how difficult it can be for first-generation college students to get accustomed to college life.
Well, I think being a first-gen student, you don't have anybody at home saying, oh, you got to do this, you need to do this, make sure you hit this. You don't have any of that. Your parents didn't go to college. They don't know anything about college life. What do I do? Where do I go?
And that's why, on Friday, members of the Eastern community gathered for the grand opening of the first Gen Hub in McAfee Gym. The hub provides a place for students to find resources, get involved, and join a community. But Dean of Student Success Michael Gillespie says the space is really open to any student who needs a place to call home.
There's a space for you. There's a place where you belong. There's a place where you fit. There's a place where you can find and get the things that you need to be your best self. It's sort of, a calmness in the storm.
And Bo says the first Gen Hub has become his new home.
Well, it provides all the resources you need to turn your life around. I know that if you're in a dark place, you can find a good place pretty easily here.
EIU President Jay Gator was also in attendance, and he says 50% of incoming students this year were first-generation students. The First Gen Hub is now open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 8, and Friday, 8 to 4 in McAfee, room 2611.
And good evening, and back to weather. We're looking at our current conditions. 62 is our temperature, and the winds from the west at 7 miles per hour. The winds, excuse me, from the west basically determined that our temperature didn't change much today. And taking a look at that a little bit further, the jet stream with the air high up above shows us coming down from Canada, colder air, but what impacted Illinois was a zonal system of air coming forward, and we stayed pretty much, as you see, in the green, and that will not always be the case this weekend, though it changes. Look at Sunday. This will probably be later in the afternoon or evening Saturday and more towards Sunday. Then we have this colder air coming down from Canada, and it gets thicker as our plot thickens for our next cold front coming through. The first cold front, it has already passed us. The strongest cold front is yet to come. And again, we've got more of those blue triangles headed toward our viewing area. Overnight tonight, low temperatures near 39. That'll probably be just before sunrise. Mostly clear this evening, but then clouds appearing in the early morning hours. The winds will be at about 10 to 15 miles an hour tonight at times, but they will die down during the day parts tomorrow. Speaking of the day parts, let's take a look at Saturday's weather. We have a forecast high near 59 degrees. We have clouds and sun, times of clouds, times of sun. And we also have light winds appearing throughout the day. They won't be affecting our weather much at all. And again, it's just going to be a very pleasant fall day. And you can see that autumn blaze maple just a little bit in the background and up above here. It might be your last really good chance to see that, because our weather will be drastically changing with high winds, getting rid of some of those leaves, and of course the temperatures, which we'll talk about in a moment. Futurecast, we're looking high up in the sky to the clouds, and we do see a possibility for some rainfall, possibly even some showers and thunderstorms coming through the entire viewing area, beginning around, well, actually could begin right after sunset and then intensify a little bit as we move toward the evening and early morning hours. And what's this? The colors blue, purple, and then even a little bit of pink. This is potential ice. It's going to be very dependent upon the temperature in the northern portion of our viewing area. Most people will probably just see maybe a few snowflakes in the affected areas up in the air, probably nothing much on the ground. And then things will clear off and we'll have clouds in and out again, but it will be mostly sunny, we believe, on Sunday. In fact, the wind will be a big factor, pushing out those clouds, but the winds are going to be from the northwest and fairly intense at times. This will take our temperatures down. High temperatures only near 37 on Sunday and 38 degrees on Monday. And here are the wind projections. This is for Sunday morning. You see, again, winds from the northwest. That brings in cold air, nothing but cold air. And we've got the same situation again Monday. And that may last actually further, including into Tuesday and Wednesday. This is our extended forecast for the 7 days, and we hope that the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month will be a better one for our veterans after this basic 48-hour period of cold in east central Illinois. And that's our look at weather. Now back to the anchor.
Thanks, Scott. In other news tonight, Indiana's Attorney General wants President Donald Trump to send the National Guard to Indianapolis. The request comes after a violent weekend in the city. Emily Longnecker from affiliate WTHR reports.
At least 10 people shot in Indianapolis over the weekend. One of the victims, a teenager, who police say died. In another case, 3 people were shot inside a bar in downtown Indianapolis early Sunday. In a third incident, police say someone was shot on the sidewalk. near Meridian and Georgia Streets. All of it prompting a post on X from Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police President Rick Snyder, detailing some of the violence. Attorney General Todd Rokita reposted Snyder and then commented. Rokita called this weekend's violence shameful and a regular occurrence, blaming leadership, he said, that, quote, refuses to do anything about it. Rokita's post went on to say, quote, we need law and order restored. President Trump should absolutely add Indianapolis to his list of cities to send the National Guard to. 13 News reached out to Governor Braun's office for comment on Rokita's post. We haven't heard back. This summer, Indiana State Police provided extra support to IMPD in mid-July during the WNBA All-Star Weekend. That help came after a violent July 4th weekend where several people were shot, including 2 teens who died. 13 News reached out to Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett for a reaction to AG Rokita's comments. He issued a statement which said in part, quote, armed troops on our streets would not make Indianapolis a safer city, and I, as mayor, discourage any request for such an intervention. Improving public safety requires listening to communities and building trust. The mayor's statement went on to say, quote, what Indianapolis needs is gun laws that make it harder for young people to obtain firearms, police with greater authority to hold problem bars accountable, and for individuals to stop turning to guns to resolve conflict.
A spokesperson for the Indiana National Guard says the Guard was not aware of any plans to send troops to Indianapolis.
In the meantime, Guard troops remain in Illinois but are on standby for deployment. A federal court blocked the deployment earlier this month. Federal Trump's attorneys argue federal law allows a president to call up the Guard if needed. The president says troops are necessary to protect ICE operations from protesters. The Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says the president is using service members as political props to militarize the city. The Supreme Court isn't likely to make a decision until November 17th at the earliest. We now turn our attention to sports, and here with the headlines is Austin Perez.
That's right. EIU women's basketball looks to make a statement against Purdue, and the first half had Panthers on the edge of their seats. Also coming up, EIU football has a chance to make history tomorrow, and we'll tell you how after this. Thanks for watching. Your WEIU Sports Watch report is coming up next. After an impressive win over Jackson State to tip off the year, a ranked U of I team will try to get its 4-game homestand on the right track. Coming up shortly at 7:30, the Illini face Florida Gulf Coast in a game where both teams start the season 1-0. The Eagles are coming off a 96-60 win over in-state opponent New College of Florida, while U of I made easy work of Jackson State, winning by 55 points. In that game, Tomislav Ivisic handled the Tigers with ease, scoring 21 points and getting 4 rebounds. Head coach Brad Underwood knows they can bring a more physical game to Florida Gulf Coast.
Really hard on some things here in the last few days that we know we'll see that will be different. Just from a size standpoint, we'll see difference with Florida Gulf Coast and athleticism.
The Fighting Illini come into tonight's game ranked at number 17, the same spot they had at the season start. After the Eagles, Illinois will face number 10 Texas Tech and hidden Ivy opponent Colgate to wrap up the season's opening home stretch. After that, they'll take on Alabama at the United Center. Eastern Illinois men's basketball play their first game at Groninger Arena this season as they host Nichols. The Panthers narrowly lost to the Valparaiso Beacons in their first matchup 66-63. Despite the defeat, Terry McMorris picked up where he left off after a red-hot freshman campaign finish as he recorded an 11-point double-double. As for the Colonels, They also lost their season opener, but they had to face the nation's 9th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats. One of these teams will get their first win of the campaign, and this game tips off in just over an hour at 7 p.m. Shifting gears, where the Eastern women's squad faces a challenging Big Ten team as the season kicks off. The Panthers travel to West Lafayette and battle Purdue in Mackey Arena. Despite a lead in the first quarter, Eastern couldn't hold on, and the Boilermakers pull away with an 82-67 win. Ava Stroley was on point for the offense, scoring 25 points and grabbing 3 rebounds in the loss. Leilani Ellis also did well, putting up 16 points in 25 minutes on the court. The Panthers will rest for a few days before going against another Indiana team, the ISU Sycamores. That game is set for Tuesday at 6. And speaking of Indiana State, the men's hoops team is searching for their first win of the 2025-26 campaign. Will it come against Illinois Tech? That answer is a resounding yes. The Sycamores take down the Scarlet Hawks 104-73. Sterling Young leads the way for ISU, scoring a team-high 20 points in the victory. Sycamores interim head coach Mark Schlesinger says despite the win, there's still plenty to work on.
We got off to a slow start, and that's not acceptable for our team. I think our guys understand that and know that the improvement that has to happen immediately. That there is no time. We've got to keep our foot on the gas and keep working and going. I thought we had some bright spots throughout the night in different areas from different people. But overall, we've got to have a big bright light throughout the game, not just flickers of it. And I think that's going to.
Indiana State once again boasts an impressive out-of-conference schedule as their next 2 games are against defending conference champions. On Monday, they'll head south to take on SIU Edwardsville, winners of the OVC last March. Then, a week from today, they'll travel to play the 6th-ranked Duke Blue Devils in one of the most high-profile games in program history. We now head back to EIU as the Panthers football squad gears up for their final home game of the season, and it comes with a chance at making history. Eastern will host undefeated Tennessee Tech for Senior Day. The Golden Eagles are ranked 5th in the latest FCS coaches poll and are amongst the favorites to win the championship in 2025. The Panthers have only one prior victory against a top 5 FCS team, and that came all the way back in 2015. A victory this weekend for EIU would be one of the greatest in program history, and they'll get their chance when this game kicks off tomorrow at noon at O'Brien Field. Sports Watch will be in attendance and have a full recap on Monday's edition. Time to serve up some results from the IHSA volleyball sectionals. In Class 1A, 3rd seed Windsor makes a statement, coming back from a set down to beat 2 seed Hayworth and punch their ticket to the Super Sectionals to play Cissna Park. In 2A, Maroa Forsyth fights hard but can't get it done, losing to Bloomington Central Catholic to wrap up the season. And finally, for Class 3A, Breese Mater Dei takes a close 2-1 set win over Mascoutah and will face another number 1 seed in Normal University in the Super Sectional. And finally tonight, the Blues have been cold as ice this season, but maybe, just maybe, a trip up north will heat things up for St. Louis. The Blues are in Buffalo to face the Sabres. Facing off in the first period, the Blues are on a fast break. Matthew Joseph takes this all by himself to the goal, sliding it home to make it a 1-0 lead. Shifting to the second, Nick Bukestad looks to make a pass across the ice, or so we thought. Bukestad fakes out the Sabres defense, and just like that, the Blues are up by 2. A late goal by Justin Falk puts a bow on a 3-0 win for the Blues. It'll be a short rest for St. Louis as they host the Seattle Kraken tomorrow evening. And that wraps it up. Tonight's Sports Watch Report. Matt, Andrew, over to you.
Thank you, Austin. Finally tonight, the towering Christmas tree that will light up Rockefeller Center this holiday season is on its way to New York City. The 75-foot-tall Norway spruce was cut down yesterday morning in East Greenbush, about 150 miles north of Manhattan. The tree was then loaded onto a long trailer as dozens of people turned out for the occasion. It's expected to arrive at 30 Rockefeller Plaza tomorrow, where it will be wrapped with more than 50,000 multicolored lights and crowned with a Swarovski star. The tree will be lighted on December 3rd during a live broadcast. Seems like our daylight keeps getting shorter and shorter, and temperatures are getting colder and colder. Scott Ely is back to navigate through a difficult weather weekend to predict. Good evening, Scott.
Good evening. It's a little bit up and down. Today was up. We had temperatures in the 70s, but for tomorrow, it'll be mild and about what we might expect for this time of year. That's after a low overnight of 40 degrees, and then that 48-hour cold front comes through. Lots of winds in the next several days. Hopefully nice weather for our veterans, though, on Tuesday. You know, in 2019, we had 4 inches of snow on Veterans Day. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Scott. That's a wrap for tonight's edition of Newswatch. The Skywatch forecast can be found anytime on our website.
And if you have a news tip for the newsroom, give us a call or send us an email. Coming up next on WEIU, BBC News The Context. Good night.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.